Hi everyone, and welcome to Success Principles Wednesday night call, 8 p.m. Sharp. Although it's now 8:12, we start to slip on punctuality there. But 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, be here for the Success Principles live with a team of 9 of us tonight. And we're going to go through Principle 15 of the Success Principles, and so I'm going to start off by doing a screen share and take you through a bit of a presentation I've put together. It is me today who's going to be doing the presentation. Hang on a second, where is it? There we go. Fingers crossed. Screen share. Okay, can you see my screen all right?
Yeah. Yep.
And has it gone full screen now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, for anyone that's not got the book, it's a book called The Success Principles. It's also an alternative book called How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be, if you want the sort of shorter, condensed 25 chapter. Okay, so Principle 15 is it's entitled Experience Your Fear and Take Action Anyway. And it's actually, I think it's a bit of a culmination of all the stuff we've been doing over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Act as if, lean into it, all that kind of stuff is taking us to the point now where we experience the fear and take action anyway. Because actually, all of us experience fear with pretty much anything we do where we're stepping outside our comfort zone. So it's important to understand that this fear is going to happen, to be aware of it. And then be able to step through it and take the action. Or as Matt would call it, the terror barrier. Going through that terror barrier is a key part of being successful. Really good quote, I like this. We come this way once. We either tiptoe through life and hope that we get to death without being too badly bruised, or we can live a full, complete life, achieving our goals and realizing our wildest dreams. That's by Bob Proctor, funny enough. So absolutely makes sense. You have a choice. As we've learned studying this book, take 100% responsibility of your life. You have the choice to take whichever path you want. Confront your fears. And it's one of the really key parts of being able to be successful, is to be able to confront your fears. On your journey from where you are to where you want to go, you have to confront your fears. And it's a natural thing. It's totally natural that everyone experiences fear. So if you're not experiencing fear in any situation in life, then maybe you need to take a good long look at yourself. We all experience it, or we should do. But most people, it kind of means the end, really, because actually you go about something, you take on a new challenge, you think, right, I'm going to do this, and then you feel the fear, and that's it, no more. That's it. Kaput. No action. It stops people from taking action. But what we know is that successful people don't let them from taking action. It doesn't let them stop them from doing what they want to do. What they tend to do is they acknowledge the fear, they experience it, and then they take it with them. And as Jack Canfield says in the book, they take it with them on the ride. And I've been talking a lot about this over the last week or so. Actually, is this kind of experiencing fear. And I remember when I did my meditation course just over a year ago, a lot of that was about studying the kind of inner feelings that you get. And it's only by having this awareness that you really got to be able to feel it properly. I don't know if you guys have ever actually really studied what fear feels like, how it manifests itself inside you. For me, it's kind of like a twisting, contorting feeling in the stomach. So I've kind of got this awareness now of what it is, and I'm able to recognize it and experience it. And even on some occasions, I've been able to even kind of acknowledge it and analyze it a little bit. But the idea is just, if you can just experience it, know it's there, then at least you can then push on through and take it with you and drive forward. There's a great book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyone. Has anyone read that book? Yeah. Cool.
Great book. Love that.
Yeah. And it's not just about fear, is it? There's a whole load of other stuff around it. But the essence of it is really about this. So if anyone hasn't read that, I thoroughly recommend it, or you can listen to it on audio, put it in the car. Great book, which goes a lot deeper into this whole subject about what causes fear and how you can move forward through it. So why are we so fearful? Well, actually, it's kind of human instinct. It's been around millions of years. You know, right from the start of humanity, we were kind of fearful of being eaten. A lot of it, like the flight and fight response of a saber-toothed tiger trying to have us for our dinner. You know, it's caused this fear. It's basically alerting us to danger. It's kind of a natural instinct we've got built into now. But in reality, these days, the kind of general life situations, there isn't that total risk of death. Just day to day, you aren't going to sort of turn a corner and see a wild animal chasing you down the street. It's just going to be making a decision, experiencing these normal situations, and actually that fear trigger still causes quite extreme reactions from a lot of people. And actually, it shouldn't really. All it really should do is allow you to stay alert or cautious about a particular situation in life. But I don't know about you guys, but I certainly experience like fear. I can feel it. I can feel this fear in the most ridiculous situations when I know I shouldn't. There's nothing rational about it. So yeah, it's something to be aware of, that kind of fear instinct has come from millions of years ago. So we need to be able to feel the fear and still carry on and actually get things done. You have to be willing to feel the fear. Well, what does this mean? Most people would actually run a mile, wouldn't they? A lot of people that haven't been through personal development or used to react in a particular way, they experience this fear. It either kind of shuts them down or they run a mile. But isn't it funny though that most of the good stuff in life involves taking some sort of risk, and not everything goes as it should do. Things don't work out. You make a decision to take a risk, and sometimes things won't be absolutely as you'd planned it. Investments go down in value. Things don't work out. There's situations in life where it doesn't quite pan out. And there's a story in the book. There's this chap called Jeff Arch, who was I think it was a producer of Sleepless in Seattle. It's worth to read the actual story in there because I won't go into it too much, but it just talks about this particular chap who had to go out on a bit of a limb really to start up Sleepless in Seattle. He got a story. He had to put in a lot of his own money. He had to raise some finance. And he was pretty much risking everything to go and produce that film. And he had to have total confidence, total belief that he was going to achieve it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just gone out there and done it. So it's interesting. A lot of the stories that are in this particular chapter, as we go through it, and if you have a read of the chapter, and a lot of it's all about sort of taking a bit of a leap of faith, feeling that fear, and stepping through it. And one of the things he kind of talks about in there, it's a bit of a quote from Jeff Arch. You've got to be willing to be terrified. It's a good terrified, that keeps you on your toes. And a lot of people thought of being terrified about something is horrendous. And actually, he's saying here that the right kind of terrified is what's going to drive people forward. Fantasized experiences appearing real. FEAR, fear. This is kind of like a psychiatrist thing that they use to explain fear, and an acronym. It's really talking about the fact that most of our fears are fantasized negative outcomes of a particular situation. So we make it up in our mind. We're in a situation and we're already thinking ahead to the future, or we're thinking back to the past, and we're attaching some sort of negative outcome that isn't real. And how often does that happen in your lives? It's just crazy, really. So rather than saying you're afraid of things, this is one of the ways he kind of talks about dealing with this situation. We say we're afraid of a spider. He suggests trying to think of being afraid to do something, such as picking up a spider. For example, I'm afraid to ask my boss for a raise. These are the list of the things that he's suggesting not to do. I'm afraid to ask my boss for a raise, ask somebody out on a date, go skydiving, ask my friends to look at a new business opportunity. I think you probably resonate with that one. So instead, try thinking of it in a different way and saying, I want to ask my boss for a raise, and I scare myself by imagining he's going to turn around and say, no, clear off, get out of here. I want to ask somebody out on a date, but I scare myself by imagining. And I think that's quite an interesting approach to it. And he's kind of in the book, it lists out there's a whole load of them. So it's worth having another read through that if you haven't read it already. So I want to ask myself to look into a new business opportunity, and I scare myself by imagining. Anyone want to chip in on that?
No, it makes me cough. What was that?
I scare myself by imagining that people are going to say.
Everyone laughing at me.
Everyone laughing at you, yeah. In the book, he says, I scare myself by imagining that they will only be interested in making money off of them. So I think that, is that a fear for anyone, that you won't approach your friends because you think that they're going to think that you're trying to make money out of them?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's probably, it's different for everyone in there. So it's, I think it's worth going through this exercise and just kind of putting your own word in there as to what that fear is. I want to do this, and I scare myself by imagining the outcome. It's really good stuff. I really like this, actually. I think it's really good, kind of getting to the bottom of what our fears are and how we can perhaps interpret them in a different way. How to get rid of fear? Well, a quote that he's got in the book here, which I really like, is, I've lived a long life and had many troubles, most of which never happened. That's from Mark Twain, which kind of like sums it up, really, doesn't it? We have, we imagine that we've had this kind of troubled life, but how much of that troubled life, stuff that we've made up in our own heads, we've fantasized reality.
Oh, it's an even sweetie.
And I think, for a lot of us, it would be a huge amount. When I did meditation, they talked about this kind of two knives. He always, the chap I had this course with, talked about two knives. In that, if you have a painful situation, it's like a knife going in, the pain of the knife going in. And then what do is that you recreate it in your mind again, sometimes over and over again. And that's the second knife going in. It's your own mind giving it even more importance or more meaning, or giving you the pain again. So yeah, I think a lot of what we do going through life is caused by our own fears and what we and the way we appreciate it. So one option is suggests, and there's quite a lot of content in here. It's like, as I say, it's like 20 pages on this particular chapter. But he goes into a lot of detail about these different ways of dealing with fear. And I think, for each of us, different ones might apply. But one is to replace what you fear with its positive outcome. There's a great little story in there about him sitting next to somebody on a plane. And this lady's like, clearly terrified. She's hanging on to the arms of the chairs. Her knuckles are pretty much white with fear. Terror on her face just as they're going down the runway. And Jack Canfield turns around to her and sort of asks her where she's going, and she says she's going to Hollywood to spend time with her grandchildren. And he kind of paints this picture of what it's like to be on one of the rides, and he says which ride is your favourite ride, and goes through this kind of whole experience. And almost in an instant, her whole physiology changes. Her facial expressions, she starts to relax, smile comes onto her face, and just in that instant, while the plane's in the middle of taking off, she's in a positive place. And how powerful is that, to be able to deal with a fear your experience of fear, if you can replace it with something positive, then you can overcome that situation in that instant.
Orange fingernails.
It also talks about physical sensations, kind of turning that knotted up feeling in your stomach to one of courage, self-confidence, calm, and joy. And one of the exercises that's in here that you might want to try out is to switch yourself between the pain, the fear feeling, and a positive feeling, and just do it. Experience fear, experience something positive, fear and positivity, and just gradually get them to get faster and faster between each other until you reach a point where you just it starts to balance out, and you don't feel either sensation anymore. It's just more of a balanced calm. So again, I think different people will respond to different ones of these, but it's definitely worth having a look through the chapters and see which one resonates with you. Another one was remembering past experiences, and he kind of talks about jumping off a diving board, and I could completely relate to this because I remember I got these flashbacks from my childhood of when I was stood on a diving board, absolutely terrified on the big board on a holiday. Terrified about diving off. The fair we went to, and I remember kind of walking to the end of the board, walking back again, walking to the end of the board, walking back again, and then another kid comes up behind me, and suddenly the pressure's there, and I just had to go for it, and I just jumped off this diving board, splashed into the water, underwater, panic, back out, swam as quickly as I could to the side, out of the water, and oh my God, it was one of the best experiences. And I was straight back up there, jumped off again, and must have been like 3 hours. I contemplated learning how to do backflips and all sorts. But yeah, it's totally kind of connected with that. So, if there's something that you can remember from a past experience where you've overcome fear, can you connect with that to help you to deal with a fear you're experiencing now or today or tomorrow or whenever it next happens? It might be worth just taking a bit of time to try and think back, and if you read that chapter, you probably come up with something. You just read that little bit, and you might think of something that you can use, one of the tools in your arsenal to deal with a particular situation in life. Another option he kind of talks about is scaling it down. You experience a fear. If you've got a fear of a presentation, and you're doing a big presentation, you've never done one before, it's in front of the whole team at region training, and you're terrified. Why not scale it down? And one way of scaling it down is to present on this. You're in front of 9 people in the comfort of your own home, and you're behind a laptop. You're not stood up in front of people, but you still got to kind of raise your game to be able to present. So why not scale it down? Come up with something small. Maybe it's a one-to-one. Maybe it's doing a small presentation in a group, in front of 4 or 5 people. But scaling it down and building up. Maybe a way that really works for you to kind of move it forward gradually, rather than having to be absolutely terrified about doing a presentation in front of 100 people. And what happens if a fear is a real phobia? And he said, well, people are scared of going on planes or scared of spiders, and that is kind of actually incapacitates some people. If you've got a phobia like that, then there is something called phobia removal using NLP, and people can deal with that. I've seen it happen myself. People can have a phobia removed in 10 minutes. It's quite incredible. So if you suffer with a phobia, a true phobia, then there is a route forward to help out.
Yeah, there's them people on this morning, John. Them two, that couple, they look a little bit strange, but them two. Do you know what I mean? They get rid of phobias, like really bad phobias, in like 10 minutes.
No, really? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're like celebrity ones, aren't they?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah. That's what, is that on like breakfast TV?
Yeah, that this morning, with the Peter Schofield or whatever his name is, Philip Schofield.
I don't watch TV.
There's no QV in TV, Tony.
I watch TV while I'm working, Danny.
You should be listening. You should be listening to these recorded Zoom calls.
I know. I am doing now. It's all up from here.
And the last one that he mentions is taking a leap of faith. And there's kind of two situations that I can relate to. One is Zoe's NLP training. And on the video that we did, right at the start of Zoe's region video, there was a picture of her jumping off one of these big sort of high towers, the ones that go up like that. And it was, I don't know how high it was, but she had to jump off of that onto one of these inflatable bags like stuntmen do. And that whole kind of process of going through this leap of faith, an actual physical leap of faith, was about breaking through a lot of those fears. And the same is the case for you need Unleash the Power Within. Tony Robbins, back in March, we did a fire walk. We walked on hot coals. And part of it is to do with your state change, but also a lot of it is about breaking through the fear. If you can break through the fear of getting your feet burnt on 2,000 degrees hot coals, you can break through all sorts of things. So taking that leap of faith and practicing take a leap of faith in these environments can really help you to deal with those small leaps of faith you've got to take every day to achieve success and get results. And while we're talking about Tony Robbins, there's a particular model I thought was really useful here. Tony Robbins has got something that he calls the triad, which helps you to understand what drives emotions in any situation. He thinks there's three things: there's physiology, which is your physical body, language, and focus. So language is your words, focus is what you're kind of focusing your mind on at that moment. And I think it's really interesting if you think through these kind of situations. In terms of physiology, emotion is created by motion. So if you're slouched over, slumped down, head down, frowning, shoulders forward, what situation? You imagine if you close your eyes and just imagine someone doing that, what's their emotional state going to be like? If you're sitting up straight, shoulders back, head up, alert, eyes open, instantly you could see the difference. If I described somebody to you like there was in that situation, you'd know straight away that they're going to be alert and happy and positive. So physiology has a massive impact on your emotional state. Another one is language. Language that you use yourself or language that other people use around you. So why does this always happen to me? If that's a language that you're using yourself, then that can have a massive impact on your emotional state. So instantly it's going into a negative situation. If you can start to use language like, how can I benefit from this? Or where's the gift in the situation? Then that in itself can just instantly transform your emotional state in that moment. And then it talks about focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, whatever your focus on grows. So really talking here about focusing in the right places and being positive in every situation, because what you focus on is going to grow just by nature of universal law. So with those three things in mind, UPW just went on and on about this every day. We're talking about your state being changed in a heartbeat. In an instant, you can change your state from being in an absolute emotional distraught feeling to being totally positive. And one of the things that we were taught as part of Unleash the Power Within was something called an anchor. An anchor is something that you can use to bring yourself into this positive state. And it's using NLP, it's using linguistics to kind of condition your mind. And one of the things that we were taught this for was the fire walk. Leading up to the fire walk, we were taught to use a certain physical move, your physiology, certain words, your language, like the words you use, and what you focus your mind on. Those three things combined to get you into a peak state. And then he used NLP to anchor that in. So at any instant, anyone that was there could bring that feeling back, just like that. And I'll tell you what, I was saying to Matt the other day about this, that it's totally worked for me. All I need to do is go into this do this particular move and say these certain words and focus in a certain way, and I'll instantly be in this total peak state. It's just incredible. It really is. So if you ever get a chance to get down to UPW and experience the fire walk and have that NLP experience, it's just totally amazing. Because as soon as I do this now, I can just feel it on the back of my head. I can feel this emotional shift, and immediately I start smiling. I get more positive. There's more energy. Just in an instant, I can bring that on if I go through that little process. So it's great. I mean, he uses it before every big event. He'll spend 10 minutes just getting into peak state before he goes up on stage. So yeah, I totally love that. I think it works, but you've got to experience it through someone like Tony Robbins to really get and appreciate it properly. So the last bit really is about taking a leap of faith and how it can transform your life. And it's got 3 stories: John DeMartini and how he used some empty space. Richard Paul Evans, how he took an empty seat, and Robert Allen, who had nothing down property deals. It all seems a bit about nothing. But the first one, John DeMartini, he had an opportunity where there was an empty space which he could use for seminars downstairs below his property practice. And by taking a leap of faith and going down there and using it, even though he wasn't supposed to, he ended up making a big following, a big turnaround in his business. And the owner of the property finally caught up with him and said, that's pretty brave of you to do that. How about we work together? And ended up offering him a job, which he didn't take. But it's kind of like not the expected situation. So I'm not suggesting that everyone goes out and just starts taking over a property or so an empty property somewhere. You go and take it over. I'm not suggesting you all run off and do that, but it's just as an example. It's really interesting how that turned into something really positive. And Richard Paul Evans took an empty seat. He was at a book launch. He'd written a book, and all these authors that had their seats lined up for them to present, or I think it was a book signing. I think, yeah, that was right. It was a book signing. Somebody hadn't turned up, so he just went for it. He just went into that seat, went up to somebody and said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I'm late." Sat down, had his book laid out, started doing a book signing with people, and it's kind of like. And that was the kind of thing that was the start of his journey. Success. And then Robert Allen, there's a story in there about how he went out on the limb and sort of said that he could, and that were announced into the press, that he could help anybody from any walk of life get a property without using any of their own money. And this was at a particular time before the credit crunch, where you could do these no money down deals. And he was challenged by the newspaper, and he had to go through this kind of challenge to prove to people that he could do it. And I think he ended up buying like 4 properties, no money down, and turned it around and made it happen. So just by going out and taking that risk, that leap of faith, all 3 of those people got some incredible results. And Tony Robbins, I've talked about Tony Robbins. I always talk about Tony Robbins these days. He started his seminars off. He went on an NLP course, learned about NLP, and started just running some seminars. And literally, that was it. He didn't really know what he was doing. He just started doing these seminars and got people in there and went out and said, "I can cure any phobia. I can transform anyone's lives." And only by going out there and doing it, he got people interested, he got people coming along, and then he got the experience to actually do it, carry it out, and get the results. So yeah, can you imagine just going out there and just running a seminar and putting an advert out and just saying that I can do this, that, and the other, even though you've got no confidence in yourself that you can do it. You just took this and the final part of the book, really, of this chapter, is all about high intention, low attachment. It's quite difficult. It took me ages to try and get my head around this. But what I've kind of learned from it, I suppose, is that if you set out your intention at a high level, you intend to get to this level, you intend to be an EMVP, and you're able to put a low attachment on it, emotional attachment to it, that way that can lead to being calm and peaceful throughout life. If you set out to have a high intention, but you've got a massive emotional attachment to it, then you can see why people struggle, and there's all of you kind of hit these barriers and don't make it through. You need to somehow have low attachment to it, and in many ways that comes from experience. You see it with a lot of NVPs, is that they have to go through all of this experience of difficult situations, of getting all the no's, of rejection, of losing a leg of your business and then having to rebuild, and it's only through that they get this low attachment to the outcome. But part of the message really is you can do everything you can to achieve your desired outcome, but then you need to let it go, because ultimately you're not going to always get the intended result straight away. Life just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. If we set out we're going to MVP in 3 months, unfortunately life is going to get in our way, and so it's going to be difficult situations that are going to slow it down or take you down a different path. But if you can keep focused and keep that intended result in your mind through the kind of things we've been learning in this book, through affirmations and visualization, and ultimately you're going to get there. Stay positive and look out for the opportunities. Someone has always said, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And that person is Helen Walton, entrepreneur, philanthropist, trailblazer, and all-round amazing woman. I thought to finish it. I don't know whether she came up with that quote or not, but I've heard it enough times from her. Yeah, I'm going to give her credit for it. And that's it. So next week, we're on to Principle 16, be willing to pay the price. But before we finish off, I'm going to hand back over to everybody to if there's any comments or feedback or anything on this chapter.
I've got one, John.
Yeah.
I was talking to Danny about this at Zoe's event. What really sticks out for me here is that it's important not to repress the fear when it comes up.
Yeah.
Try and like he says, feel it. In other words, process it. Because at the end of the day, all it is trapped energy. So if you can feel it and allow it to come through you instead of trying to repress it back in, then you're actually getting the thing out of you.
Yeah.
And if you continue to do that every time you feel it, then slowly but surely you're going to rid yourself of fear.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
So it's a bit like dealing with a problem rather than shoving it under the rug type thing.
Yeah.
Deal with it head on rather than letting it stay in you.
Yeah, that's right.
I just realised I was on mute then. I was talking. Do you know what Matt actually told me to do at the presentation?
What?
He said, when something bad happens, like someone's negativity really upsets you, he said, what you should do, this is so funny, is walk away like a dog would and shake yourself off. He's like, when a dog or a cat has got really upset, they just go, oh. He's like, that's what you need to do. I was like, people are going to think I'm weird. He was like, just shake it off, just shake the bad energy off.
You have to start at the head and go work all the way down to the backside.
That's right.
It is true though. You do see animals do it. Matt had a point.
Yeah.
It's because animals don't recognise time, you see. So they're only ever present in the moment. And so if they're feeling the fear, they don't want it, they just shake it out. But because we have time in our minds, we can repress it and then bring back the old memories when we're doing something in the future. You see, they can't do that, so everything is in the now and they can just shake it out.
Have you ever been to a seminar where they've got you to do that?
What, shake like a dog?
No, well, not shake like a dog, no, but to shake it out. I've seen that in NLP seminars. I mean, even though, remember we did, Brian did one, Brian did one a little while ago, over in Stanford. Any of you guys go to that? Because you get into a negative state. Part of NLP is to get a lasting change. You have to go into quite a negative situation to gain leverage to make a change. Because most people aren't ever experiencing anything bad enough to drive them to make a change. So NLP gets you to actually experience real, sometimes quite raw emotion in a very negative way to drive you to take action. But then one of the things they then do is get you to shake it out. You just don't want to then go through the rest of the day in that the distraught state you might be in. And just fit by the whole physiological thing, just by shaking yourself out, you can instantly turn around a negative situation into and engage in something positive. Just in an instant. It's quite amazing. So I totally agree with that, Matt. Good advice. Shake it out like a dog.
Shake it out like a dog. Make a song out of it. Mantra. You can have shake it like a dog at the monthly training.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of get up and shake it like a dog.
Song with Shake It Like It's Hot. What's that song?
Dog.
Yeah.
Remember Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
No. Yours can be like shake it like a dog.
Yeah. Anyone else? Anything else to add?
No, that was really good, John.
Is everyone going to read the book?
Is it on network marketing tools or do I just get it off Amazon?
Amazon.
Okay. I'm on it.
Just the 15 weeks behind, Tony.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we're glad to have you here with us.
Yeah.
On our little journey.
Thank you. I'll catch up, don't worry.
I'm reading, while we're sort of on topic of books, I'm reading a really good book at the minute. And it's called LOL by Christy Dryling. It's her story from her childhood to finding network marketing, and it is absolutely amazing. It is a book that I could not put down yesterday, and I'm really addicted to Facebook. And whenever my phone flashes, I have to pick my phone up and see what the message is. And yesterday I read the book for 3 hours without picking my phone up. I was that addicted to it.
Oh, is she the one we seen in, was it Manchester?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love her. She's well good.
So good.
Is that LOL as in laugh out loud?
No, lots of love.
Okay.
This one.
But
She does talk about it being lots of love. Sorry, laugh out loud. She does refer to that in the book.
Okay. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, to get this one first, if you haven't already read it. No distractions. We are going to have a quiz at some point. You will be tested. Okay, so
who's doing next week?
Before we were, I'm glad you volunteered. Thanks, Danny.
I'm always happy to do it. Has anybody not had a turn though, or wants to go?
Who's up? Who's up next? Who fancies a go?
Jennifer, what about you? You've not done one yet.
I know, my book's in Turkey. I've lent it to Kelly.
Oh.
I know that's a poor excuse, but at least...
No. I'll lend you mine.
She's back. She's back now anyway, isn't she?
No, not until the early hours of Sunday morning.
Well, that's all right. That gives you 3 days. 3 days to prepare.
Oh, I can't next week anyway. I've got business launch next Wednesday, but another time. Yeah, that sounds a really poor excuse, but it's not.
Anyone else? Remember what we were talking about earlier? Just those small little steps, rather than put yourself out there. This could be the little step you need to
Leah?
step up.
I've got a lot on this week, so I'm not. We've got a lot of catching up to do, so good time.
Tony?
Can I get the book first, John?
I'll do it if no one else wants to. I like doing them.
All right, brilliant. You're on.
16. Principal
Well,
16.
There's no pressure. You know, if you just want to step up, that's. So this whole thing's about. No, it's not about putting pressure on anyone. It's about
Practice, isn't it?
you wanting to step up. And if you feel like it, if you feel like having a go, then no, I totally love it as well because you learn so much more, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I love doing them. I'd do them every week, but it's letting other people have a go.
I do enjoy it. It's just finding the time for me. Time-wise.
Yeah.
What is Principle 16?
Principle 16 is lick it like a dog.
What? I thought you were being serious then. I was like, what?
Not really that. It's be willing to pay the price.
Okay. Shall I do it then?
Go on then. Well volunteered. Thank you very much, Danny. You're a superstar. Okay, right. That concludes today's Success Principles. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm going to make it a regular thing to put the meeting out on Facebook and invite people. Seems to really turn things around.
Invite people to take a look at your opportunity, John.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, can't get over that. Got no chance. So yeah, great call, and I look forward to seeing you all next week, if not before. Although we'll probably see a lot of people. Who's going to the district? Anyone going to the district event? Saturday yet? I'm going.
I'm at One Direction, John.
Oh, you're kidding! One Direction. There's only four of them now.
I know.
Come on, come to the district event.
I'm not sure what to expect.
My friend said no to me for 6 months today, messaged me and told me to come round on Saturday to persuade her. So that's where I'm going to be.
Wicked.
Is that the one that got married?
No, it's the other one. There's like 3 of us. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a good.
Fingers crossed for me.
That's a better excuse than One Direction.
Hey, I stood out cold for 2 hours waiting for them tickets.
It's not going to increase your paycheck, Tony.
I'm coming for it.
Oh.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks,
See you later.
John.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.